All right, we got a little off stream challenge for you tonight. Playing through with some Dimir mid range. Unfortunately, you can see the record up on the top. We already finished the first round, doing the intro after the first round because I forgot to do it before the event started. Spoiler, we're 1-0. But playing through Dimir mid range, pretty stock-ish, stock minus 75. So I took some inspiration from Kang's list to just top 3 the showcase challenge last week with a single copy of Cling to Dust in the main, the 3 copies of Spell Snare. Everything else I've been kind of running on and off for a minute now. The 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Push, 4 Counterspell, 3 Bowmaster, 2 Drown in the Lock, 4 Psychic Frog, 2 Tassiger, 3 Force Negation, 4 Subtlety, 2 Kaito Bane of Nightmares, 3 Quantum Riddlers. So pretty much swapping around like the spell peers for a 3rd Spell Snare. Cling to Dust is over the, I think Shieldred's Edict is what I had before in Dimir. The sideboard, again, took a little bit of inspiration from the non-white splash list. So 3 Engineered Explosives, which is what Kang ran. 2 Nihil Spellbomb, 3 Harbinger of the Seas, 3 Mystical Dispute, 4 Consigned Memory. So just very, very clean, straightforward 75. Not trying to do anything fancy. Not trying to make any splash colors to potentially throw off the mana base. Just trying to jam a frog, jam a Tassiger down, whatever the case may be, Bowmaster into Kaito, and attack until your opponent's life total's down to 0. So anyway, we'll catch you back in round number 1. Round 1 of the challenge is live. Looks like we got a Young Dingo for round number 1. Pretty good opening hand. We'll roll with it. Ugh. Well, tend to roll with it. Go mulliganing. Don't know yet. Might be AFK for a moment. Oh. Won the die roll. Pretty good hand on the play. Turn 1 Thoughtseize into turn 2 Frog. Don't have Subtlety up, so hopefully they're not on too aggressive of a creature deck. But definitely difficult to throw back Thoughtseize into Frog in the blind on the play. See what we're up against. Hopefully not burn. Push, Thoughtseize, Boggart Trawler, Shieldred. Okay, so we've got Necro. I take push. It's gonna Thoughtseize my Frog, which I don't love, but it is what it is. I could take Thoughtseize, try to top deck another Frog. I don't love that, but I don't hate it either. So it makes like another Frog top deck really good. I can play out Bowmaster. Maybe he'll commit the Fatal Push to that. Which I think is what I'm going to do. Like, if he does have a Necro dominance, he's got to be a little bit careful. Like, he's going to want to get the Bowmaster off the board. But if he doesn't have Necro, he's probably fine. Just like taking some hits from the Bowmaster. Pass with Counterspell up and get a Surveil. I could play out Frog last turn, but if I play out Frog and he untaps and plays Necro, then the game's just kind of over. See what we got on top. Could just subtlety off Frog. Kind of don't hate that. Boggart Trawler got played. Yeah, I'm gonna subtlety off the Frog. Subtletying because I want to keep this counter spell to answer a potential Necro. I don't want to waste it on a Dolthy and then have him just resolve and like Fatal Push, Bowmaster untap, resolve a Necro. That would kind of bite. Let's Shieldred on top, which is perfectly fine with me because that's effectively a time walk. Already had the counter spell that I knew about. And we'll go ahead and play out Tassiger. Go ahead. A Bowmaster could stall for a turn. Take off the army token, block Tassiger. Cool. Go March, not quite gonna do it there. All right, so mono black Necro. I'm on the draw. Harbinger is okay-ish. Like the more non-basics I see out of them, obviously the better Harbinger is, but also the fact that they can't remove it very easily. They can with March, but like Fatal Push, it's fairly difficult to get Revolt for Fatal Push. So it is a card I want to consider. My main deck is like fairly reasonable against them as is. Boggart Trawler is a little bit annoying, so I might like trim a Tassiger. Maybe I don't bring in the third Harbinger on the draw. Force of Negation. Reasonable. One lander on the draw is never where you want to be. Kept 7. I think I'm going to keep this. It answers creature draws really, really well. I've got the potential for a Surveil, Cling to Dust to maybe draw a card. Force of Negation's a good pickup. Don't think I'm going to fire off this Thoughtseize yet. Really rather find land. And I will go for the fetch. He could have Shadow of Doubt, but I've got Force of Negation, so like annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Takes up his turn. That's probably a pretty big giveaway that I don't have anything, or that I'm looking for a land. See what's going on. Might get like a Bowmasters in response. Shieldred, Fatal Push. All right, let's start working through Shieldreds. Got it. Probably take my Bowmaster. Yep. Pass it back. So we got Shieldred, Fatal Push. Inquisition me is fine. Try to hit a land. Step 1. Okay, now we got to start thinking. Play out a frog. They push my frog. Probably fine. I got to fight through these anyway. So. Land. Going with the Shieldred. Put Shieldred on the bottom. It was honestly like a little bit surprising there. Kind of figured that would be like a snap, put Shieldred on top. Good draws. Good if we find a land. Land, blue card. He does not have a Necro. Not. What are we doing with this Shieldred? Shieldred on top. All right, deck. Fair enough. Know about the Shieldred on top, so this is like fairly safe. Rock Trawler. Rock. All right, now I'm starting to feel a little bit bad. Not that bad, but non-zero amount of bad. Because now I've got discard, discard, discard my next card for turn. And I've got a lethal attack in with Frog. So Trawler doesn't kill me. Maybe I should have taken the Trawler, actually. Because then they wouldn't have a chance to have, like, one card and another mana available. Well, I guess if they have, like, land push or land Thoughtseize or something, they're just dead to the subtlety. That doesn't really matter. Not doing anything. So this has got to be a March of Otherworldly, or March of Wretched Sorrow. Can't go for lethal. Did get rid of a card in their hand. No, I can't get rid of that. All right, well, if we win this game, we drew exceptionally hot down the stretch. Looks like they're going to go for the upkeep March again. The main phase March. All right. We drew incredibly well. Not much to be said about that. I wish I could give more insight into the matchup, but yeah, I kind of got nothing there. GG's Dingo. Hope you go on a streak from here and end up top 8ing. Catch y'all back for round number 2. Round number 2. We are on the draw. This hand, it's not terrible on the draw. I definitely wish I knew what my opponent was playing, because if they're on something like Boros and they can get ahead on board, this hand looks a lot worse. If they're on something like a more mid-rangey build or energy or something, then it's a lot better for me. I think I'm going to keep it. Like, having Spell Snare on the draw is a big deal. It goes land pass. Go ahead and fire off this Thoughtseize. See what's up. Could be like blue-white control. I don't know. They're blink. They're blink and they don't have a second land drop. So Quantum Riddler is best card in hand. A little bit awkward, though, them having Felia and Emperor of Bones. Like, I'd love to be able to counter one of those this turn and then maybe deal with the other one later. Kind of think I should just take best card available in Quantum Riddler. If they don't hit the second land drop right away, then we have like a recovery turn. Not second land drop. Dang it. Pass back to me. Do love to see that. Now I've got Spell Snare for the Felia. I can surveil before I make a decision on the solid or on a subtlety for the Emperor. They're just going to go to their turn. Okay. Also works. Emperor of Bones. We're going to... I'm going to counterspell this. I could go for... it's close. I like saving Spell Snare here for the Felia because since it has Flash, I don't want to get into a spot where they like flash Felia in on the end of my turn and I have to use a more expensive counter to answer that. We know their hand is Felia, Solitude, Solitude, Ephemerate. Quantum Riddler's not bad. Opportunity to snare this Felia. Do find 5th land. So Hardcast Solitude is on the table now. What do I think about Thoughtseize? So if I go to my turn and I hardcast Kaito, and they hardcast Solitude, I subtlety their Solitude. They go to their turn, pass back, and I have Thoughtseize plus Quantum Riddler. Seems fine. Here's a Kaito. Opponent's going to hardcast a Solitude. And a Subtlety. They put Solitude on the bottom. That's even better for me. They don't have double blue for Quantum Riddler, but they could Ephemerate a Riddler. Pretty decent. Let's start with attacking. Then we will see what's up with Thoughtseize. Teferi. I really don't care about Teferi very much now that Kaito's down. Let's just take Solitude. Warp Riddler. Fair enough. So we Warp Riddler, trying to find like land, counterspell, anything like that. And then we have Kaito 0 as well to try to find something. So we would end up with our land down Bowmaster in hand. with the opponent having a Teferi and no idea what else. So pretty good spot for us there. Mystical Disputes over Force Negations are a pretty easy drop. Consigned to Memory. I don't mind bringing in like a couple Consigned to Memories if I have stuff I'm reasonably okay dropping. Spell Snare in particular is pretty bad. But they did show me both Emperor and Felia, so maybe I keep in an extra Spell Snare and drop a Tassiger instead. Big delve threats are a little bit awkward into Solitudes. Good hand, opponents on a mulligan. This is a matchup that I've seen more and more comments of people saying have been like really, really bad for them. Like they've been struggling really, really heavily into Blink. And while I don't think the matchup is like great, I really don't think it's that bad. And I would be interested in hearing like what is going on to make people have a really bad time into the matchup. Like what are their hands and draws looking like that's causing problems? Overlord of the Baelmart. Do get it to Fairy. That's pretty good. Yeah, keep that. We'll just jam Frog here, pass the turn. Solitude off of Teferi. Does that mean second copy of Teferi? Second copy of Teferi or second copy of Solitude? All right, I'll bite. We have like a Mystical Dispute. That's kind of okay. Second Overlord plus like Consign to Memory on my Subtlety trigger. Second Teferi. Yep. Okay. And they put the Solitude on top, so they do have a copy of Solitude. White card to go with it. Good as well. That gives them the white card. Okay. Yeah, we'll go to game 3. So that hand or that match definitely looks a little bit more sus in the overall matchup spread, but opponent did have like double Teferi, which is a nightmare to deal with. We missed the third land drop that I think would have sealed the deal. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much about that one. I don't think I'm going to change much going into game 3. He's into frog. Got Emperor Bones, Witch Enchanter, fetch, Quantum Riddler. So we're just going to take the Riddler. Opponent has to go fetch for Emperor of Bones. We can drown to kill the Emperor. Definitely. He's slamming a frog here. Dispute. We're out of here. My Thoughtseize. That is perfectly fine. I don't really want to offer up the trade for this Emperor of Bones, but at the same time, if I can keep my my Drowning Lock in hand, I wouldn't mind doing that. Actually, no, I'm going to pass. I'll respond to this with destroy the Emperor Bones. If they want to blink it, then there's no more targets in the graveyard. Because this trigger is still going to resolve and it's still going to exile the Quantum Riddler. Sure. Yeah, take that. Their hand is Marsh Flats, Witch Enchanter. Marsh Flats, Witch Enchanter, unknown. I can warp my Quantum Riddler next turn. Marsh Flats, Witch Enchanter, unknown. Am I going for this Bowmaster? I am. Don't think it's a large number of things that like blow me out here. They like consign the failure return on the frog. That's fine. Solitude off the Witch Enchanter. Okay. No Ephemerate is nice. I'm not going to tap off of this Spell Snare this turn. Another Felia could be answered. That's why it's important to pay attention to the scouting reports. And a Teferi. Hate to see that. It's a Warp Quantum Riddler, and I'm probably going to consign this Riddler trigger. Definitely going to consign this Riddler trigger. Now if I subtlety something, I just get to draw 2. All right. Feel pretty good here, if I do say so myself. Cool. And that's how you take down Esper Blink. So nice little start to the challenge, up to 2-0. We'll catch you back after at the start of round number 3. All right. Round number 3. Based. The based name. Well, I wish this Undercity Sewers were an untapped land, but we're definitely keeping. Gemstone Mines. Gemstone Mines revealing Sacred Foundry. So my plan has been upended. I was going to go turn 1 tap land. Now I'm not. Now I'm definitely holding up Spell Snare for a Ral or Ruby Medallion. Ground Lock's a good card, but I think I would rather hit land drops. And the same thing with Counterspell. Good card, just not what I need at this very moment. I don't like firing off a counter here, but I kind of need to stop this turn in its tracks, and I'm a little bit afraid that if I don't, they're going to get extra draws that I really don't want them to have. I think I'm going to go ahead and fling to dust to try to hit this land drop. Wish in the yard. This hits land, pretty good. Evolve hits Ren Pyretic. All right. I can't sit back and not play out this frog for forever. And they just go for Glimpse. That's fair. Okay. I need to get some damage in. So I think I'm going to discard Frog, Hit. Really like to wait until next turn to Subtlety, or next turn to Quantum Riddler, when I get like the most equity off the Frog plus Quantum Riddler interaction. Yep. Morphos, Grape Shot. I think I'm just going to counterspell this. Stop the turn, go back to my turn. Have discard Bowmaster, Warp Riddler. Not the greatest of draws. Fight over a Ral. We can't fight over a Ruby Medallion. See if they got a Past in Flames. Put Ral on top. Okay. Ral, unknown. Nice. All right. A little bit fortunate there. Kind of had to use some interaction in ways I would prefer not to. Like, I really don't want to use Counterspell on a Manamorphose, like, ever. But really wanted to try to turn the corner aggressively. Almost got really punished for it. So it's certainly not a perfect plan. You can probably afford to not bring in engineered explosives. Actually, keep a Bowmaster and a Kaito. Just get rid of a little Ral interaction. So that game, we were saved very, very heavily by my opponent exiling Sacred Foundry to the Gemstone Caverns. I don't think I'm keeping this. They kept 7. I don't love it, but it's better. Have something on top. Double Ral. Never what you want to see. Just going to jam the second Ral. Resolve, hit third land. Pass back with the most non-obvious counterspell mana showing. Vexing Bauble. Okay. We want a Bowmaster here. That's a good draw. So now we have an answer to the Ruby Medallion or the Ral. They choose not to play the Ral. That's really surprising to me. This Ral's not really getting a lot better the longer you wait. And now if they give me something to use this Force Negation on, I'm probably just taking the bait. Not because I think this is necessarily worth Force Negation, but I've got guaranteed draw 2 off this Riddler if I just use it. Okay. Yeah, I'll pay the life. Play this Quantum Riddler, have up Force Negation, Subtlety. Got Spell Bomb active on their turn. Kept a card on top. Glimpse. That's almost assuredly what they kept on top. You crack Spell Bomb and just draw 2 here. Probably not worth it. Might this upcoming turn, but See what we got on top. I'm almost assuredly going to Fatal Push, target my own Riddler, just to draw 2. Yeah. Pretty alright draws. Frog, go ahead. Now we've got like 7 different avenues to a lethal attack next turn. Ren's resolve. Ren's does not resolve. Got him. Now I have Spellbomb to draw 2, which could both be discarded to draw 2 more on my draw step with Quantum Riddler. That gives me a lethal attack, plus never having to tap off of Counterspell. This is Splice Desperate Ritual, which means one of their last 2 cards is another Desperate Ritual, and their card after that is unknown. I can't think of anything I care about. Maybe like Storm Scale Scion. Air. That should wrap it up. Yeah. So we can discard a counterspell to the frog into turn. Untap, draw 2 off of the Quantum Riddler, discard one of those cards, and attack in for lethal. So nice win over Storm there. We'll catch you back in round number 4. All right. Round number 4 against OB1. I feel like I played against them the other day. Not 100% sure, but I feel like I remember seeing them. On the play, Fatal Push / something into Frog, definitely a keep. See if we can get an idea of what our opponent's up to. Basic Forest, Ancient Stirrings. So my immediate thought would be Broodscale. See what's on top. If it's like another frog, I might consider Fatal Pushing, or might consider Force Negationing off the frog, but get off this. Ozilek's command has entered the chat. I assume that Ancient Stirrings is a giveaway that it's Broodscale and not like Eldrazi Tron. They're going to pass to my turn. I'd like to attack with the Psychic Frog. Pretty good draw. Do I want to fire that off? I think I do. They did keep a card on top. Their hand is pretty bad. Take this Glaring Flesh Raker. Pass over to them. So they drew another copy of Kozilek's Command. I think that's the only thing that makes sense here. I guess it could have been like, nah, Unholy Heat wouldn't make a lot of sense. Like to say no to that. Now I've got Force Negation for the Blade if I want it. I've got Fatal Push for the Broodscale. I know about that Grove. Yes. Got a Basking Broodscale. Got a Blade of the Blood Chief. I think I'm going to save this Force Negation for like a Malevolent Rumble. Kozilek's Command. Blade gone, Broodscale gone. Their hand is Beseiju, an Ugin's Labyrinth, and an Unknown. Respond with Fatal Push, target your Broodscale. Adapt. You got it. What if I need to see some cards? Like, discarding Kaito's second Riddler is somewhat free. I could Fatal Push the Spawn, but I really don't want to waste a Fatal Push. But I need to get the game over with. Okay. That's good. That is very good. Now, if they do absolutely nothing of interest, I do have lethal next turn. They cast something I have to interact with. Like, it looks like a devourer in the main. That's gross. I was not expecting main deck Devourer of Destiny. That messed me up all kinds of bad. The Flesh Raker. Last card's a Labyrinth. We get to cast a Riddler. Got and lethal off the top. Ah, man. That is so brutal. All right. So they can equip the blade now, sack this spawn token, make a new one off the Broodscale, it triggers the Flesh Raker, and just do that infinitely. So just top decking back to back for lethal. Fair. Fair. All right. Got a lot of stuff I'll at least consider bringing in. Bowmaster's pretty mid. Kaito's pretty bad. Tassiger's pretty bad. Probably don't want both Nihil Spellbomb and Drown in the Lock. I think I kind of like one Nihil Spellbomb just to help out. Oh, Cling to Dust. Fine. One Nihil Spellbomb kind of to help out with managing Emrakul is fine, but I think I like the Cling to Dust to do that job a little bit better. Okay, so main deck Devourer. Let me go see if that's stock or if that's just like... I know there's been plenty of times I've seen this Broodscale deck go like a hybrid Broodscale Eldrazi route with like sowing Myco spawn and stuff. I'm guessing that's what's happening here, but like the first list I look at doesn't have Devourer. This is hybrid-ish. I don't know if there's like a definitive. Looks like a lot of these do have Devourer in them. One doesn't, so who knows? On the play, no Thoughtseize, or no black mana for Thoughtseize, no Harbinger, no Frog. So I think this is going to be a shit back for me. Not great, but it does see some cards. Sure. No, no vexing bauble or anything out of them is kind of nice. They want to go for a Kozilek's command here. That's fine. Time this out. Choose to get the vexing bauble. So they probably have Kozilek's command. That's just like freely shutting off force and negation. Yeah. Oh, no, flush trigger. Okay. We are still fighting. What's up? Rumble, rumble, saga, saga. All right, so if they don't play a land first, dang. Through Kozilek's command. All right. Not draw Kozilek's command. I have no idea what you drew. Maybe you did. I think I just go for this. I feel like you had to have drawn Kozilek's command, and I'm not in a great spot. I really don't want to spend my turn cracking an EE on a vexing bauble. Okay. Get Cavern of Souls if they want it. I do have subtlety in hand. Blade of the Blood Chief into my known engineered explosives on 1. That seems like a choice. Second frog pass. I think that I respond to this with blow up Vexing Bauble. They can't draw, takes an artifact off the board. Like, they can play Blade of the Blood Chief, but I've got answers to that. I still know they have a Grove. Second Vexing Bauble. All right. Punished. Should have waited. I was really just like afraid they were going to get a Pitting Needle naming EE. Since they got the Blade of the Blood Chief off of the what's it called? All right, so you've got Blade. Do you have a payoff? Make this Broodscale as big as you want, but that's not killing me. Okay. This as well is fine because I have engineered explosives in my deck. So they can go infinitely wide. They can make this construct token infinitely big. I guess technically EE is not an out because I can't EE for 0 with the Vexing Bauble out. I could EE for 1 and take out the blades. Turn off the auto yields. Now EE on 0 is back on the table. A wild game. Okay, let's think. If EE on 0 is my only out, then I have to keep the subtlety back to block. I guess Fatal Push. Yeah, EE on 0 or Fatal Push. Oh no, no, no. Got distracted. I got distracted. All right. That's a punt. That's on me. Put the fear of God into him. All right. Were we going to get there? So Fatal Push drawn would have killed the Broodscale. We chump block the Construct token with the Subtlety. We get to untap, another draw for turn, another draw off of Frog. Chump block with the Subtlety. We have Drown and Luck to kill the Construct token, plus Consign at that point. That's close. I think we probably would have won that game had I not forgotten to fly the Frog. Or at least would have been very close. Because we would have had Force Negation as well, so we would have been able to interact with anything new. Man, that's rough. Oh well. Regroup. Got you back for round 5. All right. Here for round number 5. Pretty reasonable hand. Turn 2 Frog on the play. Opponent's on a mulligan to 6. See what they're up to. Scalding Tarn doesn't give me a lot to work off of. Sure. I'll take a second Frog. We got Rogren Triome. I have no idea what plays Rogren Triome. Line binding. Just like creativity, maybe? Got another binding. You got another binding. I'm gonna keep 4th land so that I can have Bowmaster plus Counterspell up. Lightning Bolt, target my Frog. I can just throw away Bowmaster, and I wouldn't feel like that bad about it. If they have 2nd Lightning Bolt, that would be awkward. Do it. Could have like Counterspell if they have another bolt. If you have 2nd bolt, there's like no reason to respond to the Frog discard. Just putting on a bluff. Force of negation. Do you have any interest in jamming Tassiger here? Probably. I think these decks usually play like Reprieve or something similar. If he wants to reprieve my Tasigur, then I just discard it to Frog. Yep. Okay. Be happy to have double counter spell up. Tassigur's not doing anything for me now, so pretty free to throw that away. Has another Leyline Binding. So let's go counter spell. Back with Frog. So I'm dead to another copy of Leyline Binder. I'm not dead. I don't really know how many ways they have of getting Frog off the board. But I do kind of like getting them down on life so they can't crack this fetch and another fetch. Limits the amount of outs that they've got here. Going for a creativity. Force negation, pitching Quantum Riddler. Plays around Spell Pierce. They don't have it, but if they had another land and they had Reprieve to put the Force back in my hand, I'd be able to fetch in order to hard cast the Force. So I could play around both Spell Pierce and Reprieve. So Harbinger's 100% coming in. That seems like best card for me in the matchup by a mile. EE can do a lot to shut down Dwarven Mine. Probably worth having some number in. Kaito, a little bit slow, a little clunky. Probably don't want all of my Bowmasters. I'm not an expert on creativity by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that if they're on like Leyline Binding and stuff, it means that they're probably not on any copies of like Faithless Looting, Persist. I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe the two things go together. It's on a mulligan. And is definitely a little slow. Needs to find a clock. But we can kind of interact up the curve a little bit. Do find a clock. But do I want to just jam this frog into like a reprieve or something? Might as well. Because this is a Beseiju and not a forest, they can't ley line binding here. All right, show me the Veil of Summer. Yep. Quite a ways off of red sources, though. Defined lands. Draw a card, make a food token. What do I think about just fighting over this? Eh. Imagine that's the best use of resources. Okay. We can find something to fight over. So I have to believe they're playing Basic Mountain. Uh, sure. Take that because it lets me do something kind of proactive. If they like spend a bolt on that, that's a good thing for me. They want to like reprieve or something, that's fine. They really not have any like any surveil lands or anything. Really, that's not the case. Is this prismatic ending for 4 on the subtlety? kind of want to pick a fight over this. Not because I, like, really care about it, but I kind of just want to get them to use cards. Probably have a bolt for this Harbinger. Red source. Okay. Guess we'll just pass with Sink into Stupor this turn. Binding. Sure. Dwarven Mine. 3 cards in hand. Cast an Archon. Good. Okay. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Other Fable the Mirror Breaker. Think that's gonna get EE. Hold off on the subtlety. Okay. Got an Archon. You got a bunch of Fable triggers. What do I think about this? Worst case scenario would be Spell Pierce. I could play around Spell Pierce by evoking Subtlety. But I do put myself in a spot where Quantum Riddler would have to find something. I think I just say if you got Spell Pierce, you got Spell Pierce. All right. Card versus my card. Ironically, I wish I had known that last card was an Archon because I would have left it in hand. Gone for the Subtlety because the Subtlety is not going to have too many targets. It'd be like a what? A Teferi, another Archon. Did keep something on top though. They hit the creativity. Okay. Pretty good. Ooh, but they only have one Archon. Zach, Subtlety. Keep our Archon. Not draw into it to Fairy. No shot you drew into it to Fairy. Into it to Fairy. Alright, here's a Quantum Riddler. All two. I cannot Thought Seize or I am dead to the Archon attack. Not blocking. If you kill me, you kill me. But I'm definitely not winning without this Quantum Riddler. Got the Bolt. Fable, sure. Assiger Bowmaster. Neither of these things do anything for me. So, rip that one. All right. What do I want to do to adjust from that game? Bowmaster looked pretty bad, but Bowmaster into Kaito could be solid. It looked like Leyline Binding was their only answer for that. Subtlety didn't look awful. Fatal Push, probably pretty weak. Just go like this. All right. On the play. Hard to throw back Frog into Harbinger on the play. Test the waters and see if they have something like Mystical Dispute. Or perhaps I'm supposed to Engineered Explosives first to try to bait out like a Spell Pierce. They get it non-white Triome. I wonder if that means that they're just going to get basic planes, Leyline Binding, or Pending here. We'll try to get down Harbinger. Don't think that they've got anything instant speed here. They could have Reprieve for this Kaito. Unfortunate. So if they have an end of turn Leyline Binding, hey. By all technicalities, it's not a Leyline Binding, so. Okay. There wasn't a binding there. Might mean that they just don't have one. Obviously be fantastic for me. There's like a little bit of a pause there, and I kind of feel like they might have drawn one. But I think my goal here is just to never tap off of counter magic. Just attack him with the Harbinger 4 more times. It's literally Leyline Binding or bust right here. Or Leyline Binding to Fairy or bust. And I've got now 4 pieces of interaction. I don't think there's any reason I should pick a fight over anything if I don't have to. Like, as good of a card as Psychic Frog is, it's just pitch fuel to force negation at the moment. False. Archon. All right. Binding, counterspell, pass turn. He says, nice. I did not have 4-color or 5-color creativity on my list of Harbinger of the Seas matchups. But it did seem like they were a lot better into Harbinger than like previous iterations of creativity. So definitely cool to see there. And it was really a heads up of them to prioritize fetching this basic plane so much. Like, the basic mountain is great if you want Lightning Bolt, but I think I agree with their assessment that Lightning Bolt's like not very good into the rest of the deck. So prioritizing like Reprieve and Prismatic Ending and Leyline Binding definitely seemed like the better choice. But GG's, catch you back for round number 6. Round number 6. I'm fairly positive my opponent's on Affinity. I think I saw them on someone else's stream, on Toothy's stream. So game 1, probably not going to matter too much what kind of a hand I keep. They're on prowess. What did they do? They went 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. So they've drawn their mystery card. Ah. Thought you could outsmart me, did you? Manufacturing, definitely scariest card here. But I can't just answer manufacturing with force negation. I kind of want to take this Imri. Take Imri. I have Fatal Push for Arcbound Ravager. Force negation for weapons manufacturing. I got a frog next turn. See what they do. If they just play out the Arcbound Ravager, I think I'm just going to go for the frog. Hobble me, sure. Probably guess that I had the frog there if I'm ditching one. The Ravager. Okay. I could get him to burn this welding jar if I just go for Fatal Push right now. Start with attacking. Back. Very, very good chance of just getting like a pithing needle for the frog. Maybe they want to get like a skateboard for the Ravager. Okay. I was halfway kidding. Whipping up the skateboard. Guess I'm just going for the sink into stupor here. Mod script is fine. Have the Kappa. Do have the Kappa. All right. Fair. Fair, fair, fair. See what frog hits before I decide on this Kaito. Will pick up the Kaito because I've got free subtlety. Pass back. I didn't even check to make sure that they put the cap on top. I assume they did. Yeah. A big reason not to. They do that again. They did. Let's go basic island, warp Riddler. See if we draw into a counter spell. Do. So now we're going to tick up the Kaito. Now I've got counterspell for the Kappa Cannoneer, Thoughtseize for the Arcbound Ravager, and I'm probably just going to take up Kaito some more, try to get the game over with. It's I guess it doesn't matter. It's going to be 3 turns regardless. If I take Bowmasters, it is 4, 5, 6, 7. They're dead, but they do have Claws of Gix. They're not actually dead, but they're pretty on life support. The opponent scoops it up. They're going to 7 off the Bowmasters. And I've got lethal presented, but with Claws of Gix, they can start sacking stuff off to gain life to stay alive for this turn. But I'm guessing they decided that was not enough of a reason to keep going. So got 3 engineered explosives to come in, 3 mystical disputes to come in. Usually I board in like 2 consigned memories just as ways to interact with chapter 2 on Urza's Saga. It's not hugely important, but got like some text over some of the random stuff I want out of the deck. Tormod's Crypt target player. Tormod's Crypt. So they can Tormod's Crypt themselves in response to a Drown in the Lock. Really makes me not want Drown. But everything else might just be worse. So this hand hard loses to weapons manufacturing. It's got some game against Kappa Cannoneer. Opponents kept 7. Pretty bad into Urza's Saga. Mulligan. Worse. So my thought process was I've got 3 copies of engineered explosives in the deck now. I want to give myself a reasonable chance of hitting one of those. Phallic Rebuke, yep. Fine, doesn't really change what I'm looking for. That's a pain. Back, or they can get back in Opal. That's a pretty good draw. Gonna get this spell snare just in case I can tag like a weapons manufacturing or a Arcbound Ravager here. Not super confident, but maybe. They go for a Ravager. We spell snare it, untap, land, Warp Quantum Riddler, draw 2. Maybe we got ourselves a game. Okay. Last card, the Kappa. Man. Affinity. Affinity, affinity, affinity. The last card. It's one of those spots where, like, I'm sure they already had the Kappa and probably needed like another free artifact off of the bauble sack to get the Kappa out this turn, but just having it actually happen, like the perfect number of cards to get the Kappa, is always rough. Riddler flooded. All right. Mystical Dispute, EE. Some piece of interaction a little bit sooner. Roll with this. Usually when I look at a hand like this, my first thought is my opponent's going to have a weapons manufacturing. And EE is going to look pretty bad. But play with the hand we're dealt. They went 2 to the bottom off of Preordain. I like Force Negation a lot here. Self a piece of interaction if they do have a weapons manufacturing. On the frog. Maybe I shouldn't have waited on the frog. Because, like, if my opponent plays out a Blood Moon right here, it wouldn't be, like, that bad for me. Hopefully me cracking this EE will convince them not to get another copy of like Pithing Needle. Vexing Bauble has just been my absolute nemesis today. That card has been wrecking me. Dang. Well, throw some stuff into a frog. I can't think of an out that I have. I guess like attack into the first, or like attack into this cannoneer. Hope they, I guess it doesn't even matter if they throw everything into it because I'm just dead to them recasting Kappa. Hmm. So I discard everything. I attack with frog. The frogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's just not doing anything. Okay. GG's. Catch you back for round number 7. All right. Round number 7. Going into the round, I was 9th, or no, 10th in the standings. We'll see if that is able to hold up after this round or not. Not a great hand, but we'll keep it compared to that first 7. That first 7 had a black source to be able to go Thoughtseize into Frog. It would have been perfect, but no black source means no Thoughtseize and potentially no Frog. That's a little bit more variance than I want to deal with. Here we'll throw back Undercity. I don't really know what I'm looking for yet. Undercity can be a little bit dicey on turn 1 if you're not sure what you're trying to find. Like opponents on a mulligan as well. They're down to at least 5. Like they kept 5. What they're on. No. Oh no, back-to-back Affinity. Keep that. Back-to-back Affinity is not what I want to see. I really need to get down Tassiger this turn. That's a good draw. Tassiger will let me start putting some actual pressure on my opponent. So their hand at the moment is fairly weak. Arcbound Ravager plus Welding Jar is a little awkward. Kappa, Ravager, Welding Jar. I think I'm actually taking the jar here. Take the jar, get down the Tassiger. The reason for taking the jar is if they don't find a 0-mana artifact, I can maybe just Orcish Bowmaster down the Ravager. Seems like a good place to be. Sacrifice it to itself. Now they've got Kappa, unknown. Fiery Islet is fine. Counterspell is also fine. Fortunately, this does feel an awful lot like last round, where I was in a spot that I felt like I could close things out from and just didn't. Let's try to not squander 2 stumbles by Affinity in one match. EE. Fine. I'm assuming this is just like throw out the hand, try to Hail Mary a Kappa Cannoneer. So I'm just going to let stuff resolve and go to counter the actual Kappa Cannoneer. 3 EEs coming in. Sticking with the 2 consigns, bringing in the 3 mystical disputes. Put out a Snare, a Cling to Dust, a Drown, Tassiger, Kaito, and Bowmasters. I've got like this stack of maybes, like kind of mid cards. Problem is, there's just like nothing in the sideboard that's any better. I think I've got to keep a reasonable chunk of them, even though I really don't want to. My usual Esper build has got like 3 pest control plus a stony silence. So I have a little more like haymaker potential post board. All right. I'm definitely not throwing this back. I've seen much better hands, but Thoughtseize into Counterspell on the draw. We've got an EE. Hopefully they don't have an Emery. Hopefully we find a fetch land. Decide to keep their 7. We are off to the races. Fire Bluff, go. And I should Thoughtseize in too. Kappa Cannoneer, Mox Opal, Urza's Saga. Let's take One of the Cannoneers. Saga. It's a reasonable pickup. These double fatal pushes could be pretty decent to clean up some construct tokens if they do decide to get a pithing needle in the blind. Mm. Yeah, I'll take a 4th land. Then I'm not going to play out the EE this turn. Because I don't want to get in a spot where I have to like crack it on their turn. I really want to catch this Mox Opal too. So I would really like to set this up for them to like go for getting out the Mox Opal. Play something else. Maybe they go get Skateboard off of this. Was kind of fine. Counterspell and Emery. On Welding Jar. So regeneration does take the creature out of combat. Second Urza's Saga's a pain. Second Urza's Saga is a huge, huge, huge pain. I do have Fatal Push and Sink into Stupor. Pass. No play, end of turn. No longer would like lands. Pass back. And it can make a construct if they want. Reason not to. And I have to respect the possibility of Pithing Needle by blowing up this EE. Even though I really, really do not want to. What you get? I had to get a Vexing Bauble. Well, if you got the Metallic Rebuke as well. Yep. Man, I've been getting cooked by these Vexing Baubles. These have been brutal. Pass back. Technically, I could hit like a Drown in the Lock and answer the Kappa. Okay. Right over that. Hope they don't have another dispute. Very likely this is going to be lethal next turn. Now know about the subtlety. Guess I can make them have it, but between the Mishra's Bauble draw, the Fiery Islet draw, I have to assume they can find a way to make this Kappa lethal. One. I really don't think that there's any way that I can like reliably play around Vexing Bauble. I could board in more consigns and like go after Urza Saga Search, but that just doesn't sound like a winning line. Try boarding in some Harbingers. Like it doesn't stop Urza Saga, but maybe I can just slow it down enough to be able to win the game somewhere else. We'll give it a shot. Okay, Thoughtseize into Frog with Force Negation. I can't get too many better hands. Need to take advantage. See how many Urza Sagas they've got. One Saga. They have a Pithing Needle. They have a Metallic Rebuke. Two sources of mana. Okay. I could take Opal. Yeah. Take Opal. They go Sink, Jar, Bobble. I play a Frog. They Rebuke. Otherwise. No, let's try. We're going to take Sink and try to force a negation the Opal. Try to just buy myself a little bit of time to get a Frog down. Get on Pithing Needle. Okay. Okay. So get Frog down. Frog down. Pass back. They've got Welding Jar, Metallic Rebuke, Unknown, Unknown, Unknown. The Unknowns is a land. And a Pinnacle Emissary. Yep. I guess the bright side would be that they don't have another another mana source at the moment. Gotta be better to just get this Frog down. Like, give them a turn to top deck something pretty good. But maybe they just go get an Opal and cast the Pinnacle Emissary. That would be pretty good for me. Opal. Okay. Gonna say I'm blocking that all day long. It's not a bad spot for me. Really not a bad spot for me. Okay, well, now we know what their blind card is. That's always nice. Definitely have to appreciate that out of them. And they're not playing it. It'll push one of these, because if you're not going to play the Kappa Cannoneer that you drew, then I'm going to try my best to clock you. Not do anything I'm interested in, not really. I think holding Odawara does anything for me either. So we're just looking at casting subtlety if they do nothing. But I would prefer to subtlety a creature here. Want to do with this? Pinnacle Emissary on top. Not super fond of that play. I feel like Pinnacle Emissary is not doing a whole lot for you. All right, so 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can play out a land, get a survey of land. Still have answers for this Pinnacle Emissary. I assume they're just going to warp. Warp, I counterspell. They Metallic Rebuke. I just pay the 3. And then I have Mystical Dispute for Kappa. Affinity's a buy. I keep telling all y'all, nobody ever believes me. Affinity's a buy. But no, apparently this Vexing Bauble thing is something I'm really going to have to put some effort into figuring out a plan for. So whenever you catch me next time on stream, ask me what the plan for Vexing Bauble out of Affinity is, and hopefully I'll have a good answer. So that'll put us to the test. So we were 10th place going into that round. I believe 2, maybe 3 X and 2s will make it. Depends on if the pair down wins or loses. So we'll go ahead and hop out here. If I end up making top 8, then obviously the video will continue. You'll see me then. If we don't make it, then you'll see me at the outro. So catch you back for either the outro or top 8. All right. Well, as you can see, I'm not recording a wrap up, which means that we did squeak in 8th place going into top 8. The downside is I'm on the draw against Affinity round 1. So not the place I want to be. We'll see how quickly this top 8 is over. Fingers crossed it's not too miserable. This hand's pretty trash. This hand is still pretty not great, but not quite as not great as the first hand. The blind pithing needle. Okay. On name Psychic Frog. All right, Cannoneer, Urza Saga, Welding Jar, blah 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 blah. Take the Cannoneer. But it apparently does not want to partake in my witty banter. I really thought that they were going to name Psychic Frog. Like, blind naming a fetch land is pretty bold. Come on, no land drop, no land drop, no land drop, no land drop, no land drop. Telling me there's a chance. Telling me there's a bigger chance. We're going to zero Kaito because I would like to find another blue card. Well, I guess technically. Assume they're just going to get like a Mox Opal. AC kicked on and the door slammed behind me, and I'm not going to lie, I jumped inside a little bit. Is the Mox Opal. So because he has 3 0-mana artifacts that I know about, there's no way that I would be able to stop a Kappa Cannoneer from coming down if he's found one. But I do want to be somewhat aggressive about using this Force of Negation. Responded to my banter. Nope. Crypt, Jar. Unknowns. Jar is down. Tentacle Emissary is down. Yep. Spew out a bunch of artifacts. Okay, well, I can interact with Emery. That's a big plus. Another force negation. Yes, I could tap down the Emery, but then Kaito's at risk of dying to these drone tokens, which I really don't want. Maybe I just emblem Kaito. Let's attack first. Bowmaster's not doing anything, so with Warp Riddler. Now that I've found another Bowmaster, go this route. And I'm going to go to my instep. Quantum Riddler's going to warp out. And I'm going to Fatal Push the Emery with Revolt off of this Quantum Riddler that's left. Got no blue mana open, so I know he can't have a Metallic Rebuke here. Go after the Kaito. Could mean just playing a Pinnacle Emissary here. No Pinnacle Emissary. Okay. That's really, really good for me since I have this Metallic Rebuke. I have this counter spell. Whoops. So now I do want to emblem back. Play out this Polluted Delta that's doing nothing. Pass the turn. See if they want to crack this Fiery Islet. They don't. Arcbound Ravager. Okay, so we should be okay if I counterspell this. Is there any chance that I die if their last card is... No, if their last card is Kappa Cannoneer, I can Bowmaster a token, untap, stun the Kappa Cannoneer, so that's fine. Counterspell this. Last card is, in fact, Metallic Rebuke, which we will force a negation. And now they are the big dead. Okay, winning game 1. Now, we saw how games 2 and 3 went last time. Is there anything I can do to try to lessen the impact of Vexing Bauble? Wish that I could say yes, but I really don't have anything off the top of my head. I think my sideboarding plan is like reasonable. Maybe I want to board in more consigns and just try to go the like consign saga. I get a chance to counter something, do it route. Like drop a Bowmaster and another drown or something. Okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. Again, I don't think that consigned to memory is good against Affinity. I need to try something different. And maybe consigned to memory lets me hold up mana more. Roll with it. We've got an on the draw answer to like a Pinnacle Emissary or an Emery or something. Okay. I have Emery. Turn one with Emery with Metallic Rebuke up is disgusting. Put Emery on top. Okay. So we Thoughtseize, try to get this Metallic Rebuke. Uke and a manufacturing. All right. A pretty good hand. All right, give me the second land. Come on, second land. All right. I'm going to take an Emery. Yeah. I don't love it, but it's better than a random draw. Pretty much just throwing this at whatever gets put on the stack. All right. Yep. Okay. Need your help, Undercity Sewers. Aura is not it. Altseas is not it. Ormod's Crypt is fine. Only card in my deck that cares about the graveyard is Tassiger. Oh, deck, I need you. I need you. Appa. They've got so many bad top decks. Why does it have to be that one? What it is, but neither will you. I mean, I could sink into Super the weapons manufacturing and Thoughtseize it away, but I'm dead to this Kappa. Ah. Doing so well at fighting there. Port out one consign, bring a snare back in. That sounds awful. Bowmaster back in. Bowmaster and a Kaito. Just get something on board. Affinity is so incredibly good at just like making you answer these super specific game plans. And if you just don't have the perfect thing at the perfect time, they run you over. Like, here's my hand that does a really good job of answering. Want that. Fine on threats this game. Hand that does a really good job of answering Pinnacle Emissary, and instead I've got a Pithing Needle. Please don't name Polluted Delta again. Is the objectively correct name. Right, Saga's down. We have a weapons manufacturing. Do. What's the likelihood of me racing them here? I discard 5 cards. Frog's a 6/7. I warp Quantum Riddler, draw 2 more. – Discard those. Frog's an 8. Not bad. I guess in the face of Pithing Needle, I'm really not discarding much, am I? About that part a little bit more before I start planning out a turn. Right. So this Urza's Saga can just get Claws of Gix. Okay. I'm pretty positive they have a Kappa Cannoneer in their hand, and there's just like no reason for them to play it with this weapons manufacturing. Right? Skateboard. Easy, as the kids say. Color me shocked. All right, so let's float up black. Ariel it, equip the skateboard. Yep. I'm pretty positive the only possible out I have is an engineered explosives, which I lose my frog, but at least I like slow down the board a little bit. Not bad. Need more, but it's not bad. Okay. I feel you, deck. Another weapons manufacturing. So this kind of doesn't matter because until they have Claws of Gix, the weapons tokens aren't doing anything. So I think I just ignore this. We definitely still need quite a lot to go my way. But I have been in worse positions against Affinity. I'm just going to go to combat. Attack with the squad. A fatal push, target the one with the skateboard. They're going to regenerate. And I think I do want to sink into Stupor this one. Save some life. Fair. Fair. All right. Need another fatal push. EE. Subtlety, the Pinnacle Emissary. Or attempt to. Alec Rebuke, my subtlety. I need to Mystical Dispute. The Metallic Rebuke. What? They put Pinnacle Emissary on top. And you have the Kappa. My God. Okay. Now, do I have any outs? I guess they play Pinnacle Emissary. I Subtlety. That just like buys me a turn. Or no, they can just blow up EE now. Kill both of these with 3, 4 more to my face. I guess I'm not dead. They put Pinnacle Emissary on top again. There is no way I can do anything if I don't block both of these. I have to do that. Off return. Bloom Lake Verge. So if I play that, a Riddler, what do we hit? Nada. Alright, so they warp Pinnacle Emissary, I counterspell and die. Telling me. Right click, attack all, I block construct, Kappa hits me, EE, blow up munitions, tokens. Oh well. It was a close, closer match than I thought it would be. I really just needed them to hit like one less thing that game. I'll probably go back and review it and see if there's anything that I could have done differently. I'm not sure if there's anything, but oh well, it happens. Let's go over a little recap of the deck list, and I will send you all on your way. All right, so a little post-event recap real quick for everybody interested at home. Things that I liked, things that I did not like. First off, I did not like being straight Dimir. I think that the tools you have access to going Esper are the only way that you have a chance, a reasonable, somewhat consistent chance against Affinity with like pest control, stony silence, stuff like that. And one of the big reasons is exactly what we saw, Pithing Needle. Pithing Needle, naming Frog, naming engineered explosives is something that pest control just doesn't have to worry about. So being able to sweep up everything on your opponent's side of the board outside of like Kappa and Emery is a really big deal. EE on 0, leaving skateboards and pithing needles and stuff behind is a bigger problem than you think it is. The rest of the deck, though, did perform pretty well. We had our punt against Broodscale, another matchup where I think that pest control does a better job than engineered explosives, and then having like stony silence is a really nice touch. But against all of the unfair stuff, we looked really, really good. We beat up on Blink. We beat up on, what do we play against? We beat up on Blink. We beat up on Storm. Beat up on, lost to Broodscale, lost to Affinity twice. Beat up on Creativity. So, pretty good stuff all around. Sideboard, Harbinger was good. Consign was fine. Mystical Dispute was fine. EE, I really don't like EE over Pest Control. And then Spellbomb, the list I saw had Spellbomb. I wasn't really sure about that one. Didn't seem like there were a lot of matchups that I wanted that over any other interaction. In the main deck, Spell Snare. 3 copies of Spell Snare felt like it was a bit much for me. I did like the extra subtleties. The 4 subtlety looked really, really good. Kaito was great. Riddler was good. Tassiger was good. Drown in the Lock was a little awkward into all the Affinity. And then the 4 Thoughtseize was a little awkward. But I think that's some reasonable spots to clean up going forward. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the challenge. As always, if you like the video, leave a like. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you anything. Just lets you know whenever a new video goes live or whenever a live stream's happening. You can come hang out and check out those. We've got links down below to stuff like the Twitch, the Discord. If you're not a member of the Control Freak Discord and you want to be, there's an invitation down that in the description. I'll have the deck list for this event. And other than that, other than that, hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, enjoy some good food and company. I will catch y'all back live later. Adios for now.